feel like that's an interesting choice from OMG's side. I mean, Fnatic and Cyanide in particular on Lee Sin, he's not been impressive on Lee Sin all season. Played 4 games of it, 1 for 3. Like, just not been all that good on Lee Sin. So for me, that is a questionable ban from OMG's side.
There's a chance it's a throwaway ban, too. We actually saw a blue side team not ban yesterday because they didn't necessarily want to decide what to ban. And here, Fnatic throws their 3rd ban. OMG, they let the timer run out for their loss of ban. We'll see what they throw in as their final ban, or if they even decide to ban something here. Fnatic did ban the Zillion, which is a little surprising, and it would open up OMG to ban Alistar and have a fairly normal ban phase.
I do think that's a surprising Zillion ban as well. Cool kind of went off on that. It's something you could probably control and not give him that 7-0-4 game, but it will be an Alistar as a final ban. So as has been seeing that come in, and I think every team's been seeing that coming against their top laners throughout Worlds.
Yeah, Alistar's actually the only champion who is 100% picked or banned in every single game so far at Worlds.
Well, that trend continues here, and Fnatic with first pick. What are they going to go for? Maokai, for example, has managed to sneak through the banning phase here.
Yeah.
Yesterday's game, you know, Lulu top lane, we've already heard that people not too convinced with that, but it will actually be Rumble locked in for Soaz.
So, first off, Maokai's not much of a Soaz champion. So when he went through the pick and ban phase, I thought maybe that's a little dangerous. However, a lot of teams have been baiting Maokai picks in order to play Rumble. It has had mixed results. The 2 Rumbles we saw at the end of yesterday were a combined 0 and 15 on the scoreboard, so it's definitely counterable in the early game if the lane is heavily focused by the opponent. And I wonder if OMG is going to try and pick a composition that can do that. Thresh is pretty big for Dada 777.
Also pushing Cyanide onto Elise, or Jarvan most likely in this one. Didn't have too good of a Jarvan game to start off the Worlds here for Fnatic's team, so we'll see what he can feel comfortable on as the Kha'Zix and the Thresh are locked in.
While I don't disagree with the Rumble pick on Fnatic, I wonder how much value they were getting out of being on the blue side there. You look at Rumble, who hasn't really been first picked at all, versus Thresh, who LMQ was willing to throw a first pick on against OMG to much success. If you look at Dada's champion pool on OMG, it's Thresh and then a bunch of stuff he doesn't seem very good at. So giving that away, in a sense, to let OMG pick it, I feel like is a bit of a flub by Fnatic.
Well, we are going to see Fnatic here locking in Nami. Will be the 2nd showing for Yellow Star on Nami. Of course, recorded a lot on it in their previous game. Cogmore also coming out then for Reckless. That's actually a new champion for him at the World Championships. Played a couple of games on Lucian and 1 on Tristana so far. We'll see what he can do here on Cogmore.
Keeping it diverse. It's usually the Trist or the Kog'Maw for Sand, so you're grabbing one of those, maybe the Trist for him. They like to go to that late game fight.
And I really wonder if they're going to continue to try and go for that late game fight, because so much of the success we saw yesterday from teams was abusing mid-game power spikes before teams could make it to the late game. They already have the Rise in there. Their AD carry choice will really define whether they go mid-game. Corki or Lucian would mean a little bit more mid-game for them.
Well, it will be Lucian there, locked in for Sun. See exactly what he can do with that. Again, a new pick for him, playing Tristana Cogmore so far. We also see the Rise locked in as well. So that's a new feature on this OMG team for Fnatic. They seem to be right on plan here. We'll see Elise come into the jungle with Cyanide, and Peke is going to show us what he's got on Syndra.
Definitely more decisiveness from Fnatic into the pick and ban phase. The only game they've actually won so far at group stage was with Cyanide on that Elise. They have a ton of pick potential, both Syndra stuns and Elise cocoons, which can be followed up with Nami bubbles. So it can still be that Fnatic playstyle, but this time with a little bit more teamfight oomph. The only problem is they're very heavy into magic damage if OMG is able to stack some of that.
I was speaking a little bit with Reckless as we were getting painted up with makeup in the room earlier.
And you look beautiful, by the way, Rick.
Thank you so much. I love the eyebrows. As I was saying, they said, a lot of people said, the Zed, the Kog'Maw, you're unsafe. He said, I get to the Quicksilver Sash as fast as possible, and the team realizes that we don't fight until then.
And the question will be whether that becomes a problem or not. I mean, Reckless was off split pushing one of the games. Fnatic got dove by LMQ very quickly. Obviously, they've constructed this team composition in a little bit different of a way. If they are dove a little bit early, Rumble is incredibly hard to dive against, so they are a little bit more well prepared for such a situation. But man, I wonder if Fnatic can get the mid-game together here.
Going to be such an important clash for both of these teams. Both of them sat, of course, in the table at 1 win and 2 losses. Samsung Blue and LMQ just above them on 2-1. So you really have to win this game if you're looking to come out of the groups. And, well, it's kind of all or nothing at this stage. You've got nothing to lose.
We almost don't know what's going to come from Fnatic, right? Taking down Samsung Blue, losing to other teams. It's been so topsy-turvy coming into this world. Anything can happen, and that's always.
It is the group of anything happening, obviously. Fnatic
the group of life.
beat the
box of chocolates.
Beat the best team. This group is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I have to give Crumbs definite credit for that one. Pretty incredible analysis of how this group goes. But guys, now that the champions are locked in, which team do you guys think are going to win? Tweet at LOL Esports using hashtag FNCWin or OMG win, and we'll see who your support has gone to once we get into the game. Fnatic, of course, as pretty much ever, I think through the entire year they've had the fan vote on their side, but this is the game where they really need to rally. They have to win.
Well, the mid game is the game we're talking about. Mid lanes and mid games, but mid game controlled quite well. Yellow Star throwing down pink boards all over the place. Right now, the highest one to lay those down. We'll see if the vision continues to control the game for Fnatic here. If OMG starts to go hard out of the gate, we are on to the Rift. We're going to see what we get in here in the lane matchups.
Yeah, the vision will be such an important battle for Fnatic with the Syndra and Elise trying to find catches and avoid the aggressive dives that OMG has been able to execute in the past. Obviously, a lane swap is very possible as well. Soaz needs to be able to get early levels more so than anything. The Rumbles we saw get shut down yesterday took an exceedingly long time to hit level 5, which is when Rumble can start kind of bending for himself with some ranks and flame spitter. Can't wait to see the first 7 minutes or so of this game. It will decide a lot.
And I feel bad for these Rumbles, at least in the last 2 games of the day. They've turned into the Mundo dive. If you can get them before 5, just keep diving. Keep diving. Has a pretty rough escape. It looks like they're trying to switch up the lanes here just a little bit to see an early advantage, but OMG is going to get right under the skin of Fnatic with some deep wards to start this one off. They get all the vision that they want on blues to keep track of Cyanide.
Yeah, wards down. We actually saw a little bit of this yesterday, but was generally not followed up on. This time around, OMG actually still sitting there in that curved brush. So we'll see if they actually move away. There is, of course, that ward in the death brush from Fnatic, so they can see that OMG have gone in there. And we'll also see that, maybe more importantly, OMG have not, up until now, actually moved.
Until they see OMG leave the brush, which is right now with Cool, they could have surmised that maybe they recalled. It's a little bit unlucky that Cool took that path back. Now we can see basically all of OMG's plans, and Fnatic will get to react to them. They're not swapping back up to meet the 80 carries. We're going to either see a lane freeze, which is what he's trying to pull off right here, or a fast push. I wonder if Fnatic will go for that. And I wonder also how the top laners are expecting to get experience. At the moment, they're doing the double jungle.
You can see pulling in San, kind of controlling the minions there so they can lock it up as much as possible. And the jungling to begin. Looks like they're going to go right through this ward. So vision privy over to the side of OMG that they're getting invaded as they thought they would. It's really about the first move. Who can trick each other? Because in the beginning of these games, everybody knows what each other is doing. It's who can really go outside the box and make the first move.
And I actually kind of like what Fnatic was doing there, taking the Wolf before the blue buff, because specifically since they're doing a buff trade, the later they take the enemy's buff, the more they're going to deny it later in the game. OMG obviously took and fully cleared Fnatic's blue buff about a full minute ago, and the respawn is going to be desynced now.
So, Reckless and San both getting free lanes up until now. Dada just waiting up on that top side. Yellow Star in lane as well. Easy going, joining Lovely. And of course, Soaz will be with Cyanide as well. Gonna be 4 men coming down towards this bottom lane.
And here's the main difference. Fnatic did not freeze the bottom lane. OMG did freeze the top lane. So Fnatic is forced into the fast push / dragon take style of play right now, and they're just going to go straight for the dragon. This is a calculated trade.
That ward really paid off. Seeing that invade and now seeing the fact that Dragon will be done here at 3:30 in. The timer will be had and maybe even more vision from Loveling as he tries to make his way in. This is going to be solo and he's walking right over a ward. A good bubble could really make
if
his
this stops
day
them
bad.
from doing the Dragon, it's fantastic. Fnatic delayed on that, and OMG was able to rotate down their bottom lane for a swap. That's a big win for OMG because they get the solo lane experience for their AD carry, and they do not lose out on the global gold. So big-time wins, especially since the turret didn't go down in that lane either.
That's basically all you need to do at this level. Put a ward down there so that they know that they're spotted, and usually that's enough to just force these teams away from going for that early Dragon where they're losing a lot of health and having to juggle the aggro between them. And when we're talking about juggling, Peke doing well so far here in this mid lane, throwing his stuns out, which didn't quite connect onto Cool that last time around, but interesting to see how Peke does here with this Syndra. How, of course, Cool does on Zed. Cool, for me, not being as impressive as we'd have maybe hoped for him to be so far. There's always time, though. We still have 3 games to play.
And yesterday, in the game they did win, his Zilean was spectacular.
That
basically took over the game. He killed Peke 1v1, and then he punished Soaz in the top lane. Zed versus Syndra, everybody has trouble against a good Syndra. So Peke, we'll see if he can punish Cool here.
See how well he comes out of this one. We've seen Cool get his Yasuo and whatnot. Still be taken down. Seems like he could be a little bit flustered in mid if he's not getting that help from Loveling. And right now, obviously taking the lane bully of Peke. He puts it 40-26 in CS in that lane. Not going to need too much help from Cyanide there, so hopefully he can focus in other places. Top laners now to match up here. Go going level 4. Soa has his 2, so he's happy to sit here and farm under the turret for now.
Easy peasy, really, for Soaz. Once that lane is pushed up, go and just trying to do a little bit of damage to him underneath the tower as Cyanide was spotted coming down bottom as well. Force going actually to recall. Already he's got that tier stacking up, so he's not going to be too worried about that.
I do have to point out, though, that Fnatic lost this lane swap. Soaz is behind in experience by going, and San is ahead of experience to Reckless. Just the failed Dragon attempt, even though it doesn't show in the gold, definitely shows in experience, and it gives OMG advantages in the side lanes. If they can get a gank off in the mid lane, it would pull an advantage there, but a level 6 Peke will make things pretty dicey.
A little bit of chaos can cause a lot if you're pulling the opposing team out of lanes. Peke here hitting 6, as you said. Whoa, nice lantern just off on the side. Dot out to save San from too much trouble with level 5 to a 3 and a 4. Especially with that Lucian damage, they could easily start to trade a little bit. Loveling here, looks like he may help and offer a bit of that assistance.
Actually spotted coming to that top side, so Fnatic aware that that was all going on. This mid lane, though, is the shining light for them so far. Cheeky from Yellowstar will just stop San recalling. But that mid lane, the shining light for them. Peke 54-39 CS up. Not being back to buy just yet, but actually waiting quite a while, and the presence of Yellowstar enough to actually stop San from going back.
At this point, it's a wave and a half that San could potentially lose to his turret, so Yellowstar stopping him those few times will definitely maintain an edge in this lane for Fnatic. It's really a nice play there by Yellowstar, just taking the risk to walk up that far, because they were down in experience in that lane. Now they can potentially pull a bit of an item advantage with better back timings.
Have to pay attention to just how strong the play is of San, of Cool, getting very emotional in the losses on the first day. Have to keep their mind in the game and really keep playing strong. San easily one of the carriers along with Cool coming in for OMG.
So Hex Drinker was the first item here for Cool. Obviously not really a surprise going up against that big AP threat of Peke in the mid lane, who incidentally himself not been back as of yet, still sat on that single Doran's ring. Obviously limits what he can do right now, but when he does go back, I'd imagine he's sat on a decent chunk of gold at this point. I think got his blue buff as well, so maybe thinking, do I really want to go home? Actually, there is Cool going to dive in onto him. Peke has the death mark on.
Very close to going down. And OMG, like you said, Jat, they are 6s across the border, at least higher level right now, and really taking this laning phase to Fnatic.
One of the big reasons that Cool was able to go aggressive there was because of the support roam from Dada. His Thresh definitely showing a lot of presence, but they do not actually gain that much from it. Peke needed to go back to base anyway. He would have liked to delay a bit longer for his teams on Holy Grail, but now, again, roaming Dada 7.
Very close to getting hit up. Yellowstar giving himself a quick spell. That movement speed passive from Nami gets him to safety. He gets out swimmingly. So 9 minutes on the board. Still no kills to come in here. And just a slight gold lead due to CS back and a fourth for now. Sen and Dada happy to push this one up to the turret. Keep the harass going.
So we mentioned in Champion Select that both of these teams actually have fairly strong mid games, which will make it even more important that they can capitalize when they get a power jump in items. At the moment, San was able to go back and get his BF sword, so he needs to punish this Reckless lane before Reckless can go back and finish some of his components. Phage and Trinity Force will generally be when Reckless jumps ahead of San a little bit. The same thing goes kind of across the board. If Going can complete his Rod of Ages, that's a big jump. If Soaz can complete Fnatic penetration, that's a big jump for him. We have to track those things and see if the teams act on them, because Fnatic has struggled with that a little bit in their defeats.
Soaz as well, struggling a tad. 0-2 on his Lulu. Outspoken about those AP champions in the top lane. And even with a loss on Aurelia in the regular season, he showed very well on it. A lot of people have here at Worlds. This time on to Rumble, down 20 CS. Can he still make an impact? The ults are going to have to hit in the fights with the way he's down right now.
Peke a mile off there with that stunt. Let's see if Fnatic can actually open anything up here. Loveling is already waiting in the side brush on that mid lane in case Fnatic do come around. There is a pink ward cleared out, so maybe OMG will be left somewhat guessing in this mid lane. There is a stun coming in, but you see Loveling stuck around long enough. They're actually going to dive towards Peke. Deathmark is down. Peke's not going to survive this one, but he does get the kill on the way out and gets the first blood even.
He just barely fell prey to that one, and Soaz teleports down. Equalizer doesn't quite get it. Let's see if they make use of that teleport more than just a one-for-one trade, though.
Still the pressure on the mid lane. Cools grabbing double buffs off of that one. Soaz does come down. He overheats on the harpoon shot, not leaving him in a safe situation. That means Scrap Shield can't be used. A bit of a mistake there as Soaz tries to put the team on his back for a quick second. He is forced to right back to Yellowstar and Cyanide for safety.
Yes.
Very key there. That able to get
no
it. No, Soaz.
Honk landing from Dada, and there comes Cooling with the lantern, and Soaz. You see him on the player cam in that bottom left-hand side and just shaking his head. Like, literally, the teleport was too slow for him.
Yeah.
Gets caught out of position, was possibly looking not to go down after the first hook lands onto him and Cool had to go. And then he's trying to recall in an area where that's just going to go down. And now OMG not only getting the kill, they're going to get the dragon as well.
Yeah, even if they wanted to contest this, Going could just teleport down and rise and force an uneven fight. Let's just take stock of everything that OMG gained there, despite Fnatic basically throwing the kitchen sink at them. It was a counter gank to the Zed ultimate when they showed up with Yellowstar and Cyanide. A, they didn't prevent the kill. B, they still burned exhaust. C, they burned the teleport. And D, Zed got 2 kills and didn't even die once he came back from base, plus the dragon. Everything there went OMG's way.
Very different from Soaz coming in with these plays, that backing in somebody's jungle. Not very respectful. Thinking that there were 3 of his wards around doesn't mean that there isn't one from OMG. And that is big plays for Cool in the mid lane. I guess it doesn't matter if he's on that Zillion or now he gets that Zed. He is doing work with the help of the jungle and the help of the Roman Dada. Fnatic now trying to answer with a bit of their own, and it's going to be the teleport coming in from Going. Will he be able to activate? He flashes over it. Yellowstar's going to be hit. The tidal wave does come out, but OMG just surfs over it, and they're going to keep this one going. Loveling, can he get in? He does go for the flash. Going's auto is going to get that one and secure the kill, and OMG starts their rampage.
All 5 members of OMG in the bottom lane. Fnatic trying desperately to keep up with the speed of OMG's collapses. Thus far, they have been unsuccessful. So I was trying to take a turn in the top lane.
Yeah, that's their answer to this one. You see the effectiveness of Going's teleport compared to what Soaz ended up doing there in that mid lane, and should be giving OMG that tower on the bottom side. It will be that tower going down. Top lane, not sure if Soaz has really got that one low enough, and we can already see that OMG have started to move in, have a good deep line of wards inside of Fnatic's jungle. And Cool is hurting with that Cutlass in there on top of the Hex Drinker.
And this will be a big test of these teams' mental fortitude if the first 2 days weren't a big enough test already. considering OMG's story coming in here. They started the group 0-2. To be able to come out of that, potentially win their next 2 games, would just require an immense amount of mental strength. You take Fnatic as well, having to beat Blue to come out of their slump as well after losing on the first day. It's just so hard for these guys to every single game have to show up knowing that a loss could eliminate you from the group.
Both of the teams much more improved than on the first day, but the question is, when it comes down to it, who improved more? So far, it's OMG as they start off the game 3-1. Peke able to get his blue. They can keep that to him. It'll be very good. Cools, he's going to be receiving it, but not a necessity.
And this is where Cool now may start to shine, headed off onto those side lanes. Actually, Lovely going to come around, try and steal away the red buff, and tries becomes a lot easier when you've got that smite available. Takes that one down. Meanwhile, Soaz forced to use his ultimate in the top lane to get rid of that minion wave. And Fnatic slowly but surely seem to be falling to pieces.
And we were talking about those mid-game power spikes. There's a Rod of Ages completed, the BF sword almost an Infinity Edge onto Sand. Fnatic trying to group to make up for it, but they just strictly don't have the spells right now. Dada gets caught way out of position.
Nicely done. The calling coming across from Sand. He has not finished the Infinity Edge, but he's still able to put out big damage with all the pieces on it. Cool's trying to keep this one going. Yellow Star with the double bubble to keep this one a bit disengaged, as only one was lost on each side, but that's Reckless down.
He just got evaporated by the OMG team. Sand, though, gets real aggressive. The fact that OMG actually trades 1-for-1 despite Dada dying before the fight even began shows how far ahead they actually were there, and it's actually a pretty good trade for Fnatic at the end of the day.
And we talk about it being a mid-game centric group pretty much everywhere. They have the items right now. They're spiking, and they're perfectly creating these fights for themselves.
Infinity Edge will be in for Sun in just a little while. Got all 3 parts of that one. On the other side, though, for Reckless, after that death there, Sheen and Zeal in net, Mage still to come, and the rest of that Trinity Force going to be lacking a little bit behind. Fnatic, though, actually pushing back here, and they may have got this turret.
If you first fail, try again. However, they lost their minion wave. OMG is pushing the side wave. They are investing a lot to try and get this one, and they could not even finish it due to the fear of the OMG collapse. Tanking that turret without minions and without a real tank on the Fnatic team is pretty dangerous.
Cool, I think is this one. I mean, Peke at half HP, Soaz was tanking the turret there. No one was hitting the turret. All a little bit disjointed here so far from Fnatic. Definitely need to basically forget their problems, I think, and get their head into the game, because so far not been making the plays that they need to. There's to stand a chance of coming out of this. What is I mean, I'll give the respect to that. This is a ridiculous group of Worlds, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, very, very hard to call. There is a hook from Dada. The turret already being pushed. A culling being used straight away by San will actually force Fnatic back somewhat, but the minion wave's already gone.
The combination of power that OMG has on their team right now with the evolved W from Loveling to poke in and just create setup for Rise and Zed to obliterate a fight seems like it's a little too much for Fnatic to deal with. We talked about Rumble and how he was going to need to secure experience in the early and mid games. Soaz has been shut down, level 8 to level 10 of Rise, and he is a non-factor at the moment. They just get completely sieged out by OMG.
Sieged out indeed, and now everybody trying to share experience throughout these lanes. As I said, Reckless earlier said, if we're against Zed, I'm going to get a Quicksilver Sash. Well, you are so far away from that right now, and OMG is right on the front doorstep. Oh no! A pie to the face of Reckless as Cyanide dodges out on that one, and it looks like he will be getting popped by the death mark. He goes down to Cathy, and Surprise could finish going, but he flashes over the wall. Sound with a beautiful relentless pursuit to save himself as well.
OMG sat on that equalizer and got flanked very well by Fnatic. They're desperately trying to get away because that gank actually went pear-shaped.
Double slow for Soaz, and he's going to finish off with a flame spinner. Meanwhile, Peke chasing Cool, lands the stun. One hop is in the bush. Oh, he's juking round, but well, I got excited about that one. Peke able to finish off plenty of HP, and just like that, Fnatic bring the kills back even. Let's see what they can do with it.
That was sneakily reminiscent of Fnatic's fight in the semifinals against Royal Club when they came back in one of those games where everyone was hit around the side. They get initiated on because OMG thinks they have a good fight, and then Soaz and the rest of Fnatic Cavalry come down and just side to wreck the fight. Whether or not that gives them a window to take the dragon or not will kind of decide if they pulled even in this game or not.
That is definitely something to remember, that these teams finished a lot farther than they're putting up. The performances will show this year. Fnatic definitely wants to get out of the groups. OMG, they're fighting for their lives as well.
You're absolutely right, Riv. After these teams' performances last year, falling out in group stage would be a monumental failure, especially for OMG. When you look at the LPL region, the other two LPL teams are already in the quarterfinals. If they don't make it, they are essentially the black sheep of the LPL scene.
Yeah, definitely a lot of pressure coming from that.
Oh, Cocoon lands onto San. The stun from Peke will be chained on as well, but not a follow-up there. And Fnatic, you can see, despite having the control on this bottom side of the river, have been very, very hesitant in starting off the dragon. They know there's only a couple of thousand gold separating the two, and there comes the hook. Oh, it was so close to landing onto Cyanide, just wide from Dada.
These teams don't necessarily want to start Dragon. If a team does start Dragon, it would be OMG because they have much better fight peel. Fnatic doesn't really want to deal with Ryze right now, especially if they have to funnel in a line. If Fnatic is to win this fight, it would be about a tremendous equalizer. That one is okay.
An equalizer they can't really follow up on. It's going, able to just use his ult and really get out of that. Cyanide is the focus, forced to repel in defense again, but he's just going to go down. The itsy bitsy spider goes down the spout indeed. Oh, Yellow Star on the edge. Gets hooked by the tail. Peke trying to do what he can. Is able to drop cool on this one, but I don't think the team can answer. This is a dangerous spot for him to be in right now.
And just like that, Fnatic being jumped on here. San is actually low. Peke coming back into the fight. Big stun onto Dada. Reckless will actually pick it up with the accompanying surprise. And Peke, you know what? He's still fairly healthy here. If he can get into the right position without catching a hook, without being room prison, I think wisely here, OMG decide to back away.
Peke was trying to flank that entire fight and could just never land quite the right stun. It was a very push and pull fight. OMG was able to collapse as a team a little bit quicker and find the right things. The equalizer actually took Sun and Dada pretty low, except Peke, if you can see around the back, was never quite there, and Ryze and Zed did enough damage to just charge straight into Fnatic. It was a really testy, disengagey fight here. Some nice bubbles, some nice skill shots, really what ends up securing kills, and some really clutch shields. That ultimate from Cool actually kind of prevented San from dying earlier in that fight. Peke could have killed both of them if he played his cards a little better.
So flash from Lovely in there as well. Obviously, meant that Reckless had the bit of extra power that he needed to finish off San.
So we see 3 brutalizers quickly finished up. OMG continuing to just put damage within their builds to keep these fights going and keep their strength up. Peke around the sides of these fights, now as his Zanyas, he's kind of at a 3-1-3, been a little hidden in getting his score. So if he can stay out of the focus zone and the attention of OMG, he might be able to clean up these fights for the team.
Yeah, you can see Fnatic still has a lot of fight power in these. However, they have to make their comeback, in my opinion, before Dada finishes his Aegis or his Locket at this point. Because Fnatic's team, top to bottom, even Kog'Maw, the AD carry, does a large amount of magic damage. And as soon as Dada finishes that Aegis, everyone else on the team will get 20 magic resistance, which is actually a pretty substantial amount of percentage defense against magic damage from Fnatic. And I think once that happens, if OMG still has a lead, the team fights become substantially easier for OMG.
A composition that Fnatic have just make it very easy to itemize defensively. See the Hex Drinkers in there as well already for both Lovely and Cool. Fnatic here just trying to get a bit of vision back on their side of the jungle. As Peke saw already that Cool was around there somewhere and guessed right as he throws the column over into that brush. If you look down the farm at this stage, just to kind of touch on that one, there's a massive difference if you look at the top laners. So has 97 CSGO going 164 plus 303 on the scoreboard as well. I mean, Going is getting to the scary stage really quickly.
And if you look at the gold disparity, that's pretty much where it all lies. Between them and the jungler, mid lane, AD carry, and supports are all pretty comparable as far as power goes. So in a perfect world, Soaz could kind of trade himself for going, and Fnatic could fight 4v4. But Rumble isn't exactly a split-pushing threat, so he has to team fight. Unfortunately, that draws in the most farm member of the OMG team.
We also have to remember Cool, he gets big as well. They can put this into the 1-3-1 and really start to spread Fnatic thin. Yeah, good siege stop here. Obviously, they can clear the waves as it grabs to the turret. Reckless and Peke able to stop that up, but it only can last so long. OMG will go under the turret, whether it's full health or not, and they will continue to get these fights. They still have a 3,000 gold lead with what's been going on. The Dragon up in 2 minutes, and that side of the map is quite dark. So you might see a little bit of focus start coming to that.
So both AD carries actually just recalling out of lane, which means a finished Ghost Blade on one side, and almost the Blade of the Ruin King done for Reckless as well. Should have it the next time that he does go home. But for now, Lucian going to be feeling strong about this one. The Blade of the Ruin King done for Zed. Of course, Rise has been stacking up that Rod of Ages and his tier for quite a while now.